Today I got a special guest, Billy Garland Jr., the son of Billy Garland Sr., and the blood brother of Tupac Shakur. Some call him the light-skinned twin, they resemble each other so much. Never before seen. Exclusive. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
What's up? What's up? I got a special guest today, but I don't want to introduce him. I want him to introduce himself. He goes by the name of his artist name is Five Faces. But introduce yourself, brother. Tell the people who you are.
All right. What's going on, brother DELRAY? My name is William Garland Jr. or Billy Garland. You know what I'm saying, Jr. Like you said, I go by the name Five Faces. And I'm Tupac's biological brother. We got the same father.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on the channel, brother. I felt that it was imperative that I would have someone like yourself. I understand that, people know Mo Preem as being Tupac's brother, and I respect that, but he's Tupac's stepbrother. And the reason why I brung you on here, brothers, is because, like I said, I've talked to your father on many occasions. Most people believe that he's somehow deceased, but if you can clarify that for him, please.
Which is crazy, man. I know, you can't. That just goes to show to prove, that you can't believe everything you hear and read on the internet,
Absolutely.
But no, my pops ain't dead. He's very much alive.
Okay.
And well.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I appreciate that confirmation, because a lot of people get it twisted. They go into Google and they kind of believe, like you say, everything that they read or hear in Google, as if Google is a person now, So, but yeah, like I said, it's a pleasure to have you. What I would like to get into first and foremost is, when did you find out that Tupac was your brother?
Oh yeah, at an early age, like 6.
Like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And how did that transpire?
I don't remember everything in detail because I'm 6, but
right.
I do remember vaguely. My pops came to the house. I was living with my mom's.
Okay.
And he would come frequently. On the weekends and get me and whatnot. And this one particular night, he came to the house. Like, I just remember him like being extra excited and smiling and telling my mom that he thinks he just found his son, or saw his son for the first time on the Juice movie poster when Pac did the movie Juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my pops, I guess, saw him on a poster, just happened to see him on the street somewhere, and realized like, oh shit, that's my son. Wow. And and he told my moms that. He told my moms that night.
Wow, that's pretty cool, man. And so, I mean, I know you probably was 6 years old at that particular time, but yeah, that's crazy, man. I think that's very interesting. So, and you saying that, like I said, a lot of people have come to this thing about Tupac father. They have this narrative of Mr. Garland. Should I say, I always call him Mr. Garland out of respect, as not being there for his son. But you in particular, I just heard you say that your father would come pick you up. You were living with your mom, but your father would come pick you up. So what I want to ask you is, was Mr. Garland in your life like a father should be?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Was he the perfect father? You know what I'm saying? Who is? You know what I'm saying?
True.
True. But he wasn't the absentee father that people try to portray him to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Absolutely.
and honestly, that portrayal, the reason why he kind of has that that bad rep with certain people is because of, truth be told, lies that were told. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's very interesting. Like I said, me and you, we've talked extensively, and like I said, I've talked to your father extensively. So in understanding that Tupac was your brother and your father was involved with the Black Panther movement, and that's where he met Afeni Shakur at. Did your father instill some of that in you as you were growing up, some of those beliefs and who you were and who you were to become as a man?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just by leading by example, you know what I'm saying? Watching him, seeing how he carried himself and how he conducted himself
Right.
with people. And of course, I was young, so I didn't understand. I didn't know at that time that my pops was a Black Panther like that, and really understand the whole movement like that until I got a little older. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, a lot of that's in my blood. That shit was instilled into me. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that, like I said, I found out Pac was my brother early age, so I was introduced to hip hop and music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From him. You know, so you imagine here 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old listening to to Pac and his words, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, and definitely he instilled, I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like Pac damn near raised me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of other fans in the world, you know. I'm just lucky enough to be able to call him my blood brother, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And let's be clear, because I don't like to mislead people, but you never had the opportunity to meet Tupac, huh?
No, unfortunately, he died in 96.
Yeah.
So I was 11. And no, I unfortunately I didn't get a chance to meet him. But he knew of us, me and my other brothers and sisters. He saw pictures of us and he knew our names and shit like that.
Absolutely. So can I ask you this? So when you found out that Tupac died, do you remember where you were when you found out that he passed away? And if you could talk about that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I remember that shit like it was yesterday, man. I was 11, and it just so happened that it's one of my cousin's birthday.
Okay.
September 13th, right? On my mom's side. It's one of my cousin's birthday. And so I was with his wife, picking up a birthday cake, shit like that.
Right.
And yeah, I never remember. I never forget it. On the way driving back home, we heard it on the radio.
Right.
We heard it on the radio. Wow. That I mean, we already knew. I already knew, of course, because he got shot on the 7th and all the days. So we knew that he was shot and he was in the hospital and whatnot. But I was under the impression that he was gonna make it through.
Absolutely.
Like the first shooting. So when when we heard that on the radio, I was devastated. That shit broke me down. I cried all night. The worst I ever cried in my life to this day.
Absolutely. And I feel you right now. And to talk to somebody who, like I said, it's a lot of people out there, kind of related to Moprim Shakur, but to talk to somebody who shares that same DNA. And you just talked about your brothers and sisters. So who are your brothers and sisters that are Tupac's also blood brothers and sisters? Can you give us their name?
Right. So so my pops had 6 children.
Absolutely.
4 boys and 2 girls. You know what I'm saying? So including Pac. So it's my other brother Landon and Malik, and me, and then my other sisters Nika and Takira.
Okay. And we're gonna give a shout out to them. Like I said, most
definitely. You already know. Shout out to my
absolutely,
family.
Absolutely. They watching it. So and when you deal with the death of Tupac Shakur, for me, I remember where I was at, you know what I mean? And like I said, you say you heard it on the radio. I believe when I talked to your father, he had heard the same thing over the radio. I believe he was still in Vegas at that particular time when he had heard it. I think he said he was going back to the hotel.
Right,
And you said, yeah, and you said that you were basically raised on Tupac's music. But I wanted to ask you, in this, we've heard a lot of things in regards to your brother and his death and so on and so forth. But I'm gonna take you back to New York. Do you remember the first time that he was shot?
The quad shooting? Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and what were your feelings about that at that particular time? If you could run me, if you remember anything in regards to what was going on at that particular time, because that's when your father had actually got back up with Tupac at that particular time when he went to the hospital.
That was the first time, yeah, that he saw him in person.
Absolutely.
He went to the hospital when he was shot, right? And that was the whole thing where in the interview, Pac said that he woke up in the hospital and saw a nigga that looked just like him and shit.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember my dad telling me that he was going to the hospital to go see Pac.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because even though I'm young, you know,
right.
I'm like 10, 9 when he got shot, I think in 94.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like 9, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, of course, at that age, I don't really understand the intricate details and who's behind what and names and shit. I knew basically what everybody else knew, you know what I'm saying, in the newspapers and the articles and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But you know, I just remember, yeah, it was just a difficult time. Like, you know, Pac got shot. We didn't know if he was gonna make it or not.
Right.
You know, and then I just remember specifically about that whole era, that whole time, that situation was like right after he got shot. A lot of shit was moving, the whole court thing. He was going back and forth in court. And then that Biggie shit, who shot you, drop.
Right. Okay, so that you went right there. Let me stop you right there. Will Garland Jr. in the house, in the building, hip hop, Monica name, 5 Faces. Look out for him. It's your boy DELRAY. Yeah, straight gang.